Hey guys, it's Conan, and in this video I would like to talk about inspiration. Do you need inspiration to draw? How I stay inspired to keep working on my Inktober pieces. In the background you're seeing the time lapse of my Inktober pieces for the 5th and the 6th day of Inktober. I decided to combine the two prompts to draw an epic fantasy scene. So let's get to the inspiration. First of all, we have to clear up how I would describe inspiration. For me, being inspired means that the only thing basically I want to do is work on my art. It's the only thing I can think about, it's the only thing I can think about doing in that moment. And when I do it, I don't feel frustrated. I don't think about what I should draw for 5 hours before even setting the pen to paper. Being inspired just means I sit down, bam, start sketching, start drawing. Unfortunately, that's not every day. You're not inspired every day. Some days you just don't feel like drawing. Some days the drawing might just not work. But in those cases, I have a few things that help me deal with that situation. So, first of all, if you don't feel like drawing at all, but it's Inktober, maybe think about either skipping the day and just doing 2 drawings on the next day, or if you don't want to miss a day, just start doing random things, start doodling, or you could also go on the internet, look at other people's Inktober's. Maybe if you're not following a prompt list, consider looking up some prompt lists to get inspiration from, or just look at other artists, but never copy. So that's a thing you can do. But what if you feel inspired, you're ready to get there, you have all your materials laid out, pen in hand, you know exactly what to draw, you know how it's supposed to look like, you're thinking, oh man, this is gonna be an amazing drawing. But then you touch the pen to the paper and it just doesn't work. You're trying, you're erasing, the paper is already crumbling because you have erased the whole thing 5 times already. But you have the idea, you have the motivation, you want to make a good drawing. What can you do then? How can you fix your drawing? How can you put to the paper what's in your head? So the main problem with this is that our imagination is always gonna be way ahead of your skill. I don't mean to sound rude when I say that, but it's a fact. You can never exactly draw what's in your head. You can't just take a thought and put it to the paper. That's not possible. Maybe like a computer could do that. I don't mean drawing digitally, I don't want to get into that controversy, whatever. It's just, it all depends on your skill. Yes, your brain can come up with the most amazing drawings, but it's easy to forget that traditional media especially has limitations. And like the paper crumbling, for example, it doesn't matter how good your idea is. If you mess up the sketch too many times and you erase in one spot, for example the nose, then you just have to start all over, and that sucks. So if you have a thing and it's not working out but you know kind of what to do, you could just go ahead and take a separate piece of paper, maybe not in your Inktober sketchbook or on your nice watercolor paper, and you could just start making some thumbnails. A thumbnail is basically a smaller version of the drawing where you concentrate on silhouette and contrast and composition, and try to work out all of the flaws your piece has or you think your piece has. Thumbnails can be very helpful because you're not focusing on the details, you're not trying to get it perfect the first try, because it's just a doodle, you're just doodling, so that might also help. But if all of these things don't help, then maybe just do your best. Step away from the drawing for a minute, come back an hour later, take a break, watch some YouTube, have lunch, whatever. Come back and look at it with fresh eyes. Sometimes when we look at a piece of art for too long, we can get really used to it, and we start to see every single flaw that a person is never going to see if they scroll past it on your Instagram feed, or even if they watch a YouTube video. Look at it like this: you've been looking at this piece of art for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 10 hours. So you know that piece, and you also know what you want it to look like. But consider, the person looking at it doesn't even know what you want it to look like. The person looking at it just sees the piece of art. They have no prejudices against that piece of art. They just see, oh, it's a nice ink drawing, it's Inktober. They can see what you drew for the prompt, but they won't see the flaws you're seeing, because chances are they're not gonna look at it for longer than 10 seconds, and that's already long. You might just like it, move on, maybe leave a comment, but they're not gonna rip you apart in the comments. And if they do, well, that's just a dick move. Don't get caught up in all the negativity. So I hope you enjoyed my kind of rant about inspiration and doing bad art and accepting that things sometimes just don't work out. And maybe if you like the video, if you want to see more of my Inktober things, consider subscribing. If you have an opinion on this, feel free to leave it in the comments. I would love to hear what you think about inspiration, and I'll see you in my next video.